Hi, I'm Brady, co-founder of Primer, and you must be here for a Primer On Demand demo. So first off, I want to just run through a quick overview of Primer On Demand and how it helps different growth marketing teams solve their creative needs. So let me jump in here. So Primer On Demand is your way to get custom designed video ads, image ads, and landing pages for all your different growth marketing across TikTok, Meta, and other different channels. As I'm sure you know, creative is king at this point. With so much of the media buying process becoming more automated, it's become increasingly more important over the last few years to really have your creative stand out versus your competition and others who are advertising on those different channels. And really, creative is how you can stand out and how you can really improve those ROAS results or your CAC costs, and then also scale and be able to hit those quarterly goals that you need to hit. And one good ad is never going to really drive that performance. You're going to need a lot of creative. And so here are some of the problems. And you've probably had this story happen to you multiple times, or you're even feeling it today. When you do not have a good option or a consistent option for your growth marketing creative, you end up with growth teams that are trying with a very limited number of creative variations. And so that's really limiting the ROAS or CAC results that you can find, and is limiting your scale. And oftentimes you have very lofty marketing goals, but unfortunately you just don't get those resources devoted to you that you need internally. So you sort of have the double-edged sword of having really aggressive targets, and you're not getting the support on the creative side that you need and the design side that you need to actually hit any of those targets. And so a lot of growth marketing teams find themselves spending half their time just fighting for designs. And when they do get the actual design bandwidth, it's usually from a designer who doesn't just focus on growth marketing. They might focus on all marketing in general, including general brand marketing or things where it's more about sort of eyeballs or clicks than it is about actually driving revenue. Or you work with a designer who is more focused on, say, like the internal product, the site, the help section, things like that. And so you get things that will usually look good but don't perform. And so then the end result of all of this is many growth marketing teams have found themselves where their top performer is this ugly thing that they made in Canva. And that's where Primer On Demand solves all those problems. So essentially you can think of Primer On Demand as your growth marketing creative pipeline, where you can put in unlimited requests and we'll work on one thing at a time. It's made by professional designers who focus on growth marketing and do growth marketing every single day, so they know all the best practices across all the different channels. It's all delivered very quickly in 2 to 4 business days, and then all organized through this online platform to request, review, and organize your growth marketing assets. So, and again, these are all things that are designed to convert. All of these designs are made for growth marketing, so you are getting growth marketing creative consistently every single time that's designed to convert on these different channels. Additionally, through Primer On Demand, you can generate professional custom landing pages that are actually hosted. So these are designed by growth marketing designers who know what converts and have training in what the best practices are across the board on all these different channels. And they're delivered to you ready and hosted on a subdomain, so you can just put them immediately into your growth marketing campaigns. These are, again, all designed by a team that specializes in growth marketing creative. Many have been working in growth marketing for years and have a ton of experience and learn monthly and weekly what performs and have evolved as the different platforms have evolved. And so they have an eye for what converts, and so you are getting consistent designs that you can feel confident are going to perform on your different channels. Cool. And so that's the quick overview of that, and now I'll jump into the demo. Awesome. So here is your creative request queue. So essentially, you see this as your project within Primer, and you have a queue of all your upcoming growth marketing creative. You can almost think of it as your growth marketing creative roadmap. So in this case, there's actually 4 things over for review, and then there's 3 things in the queue. And then I will explain more about the queue, but first I want to jump over and also show you, here we have the command center. So within the command center, this is your sort of command center for all of your company's branding. And so you have your shared style guide, you have your logo files, you have your font family, and all of your font sort of like notes here, all of your brand colors, best practices, do's and don'ts, things to try to do every time or most times, things to avoid and not do. And then also areas to include, say, like your massive brand assets folder that contains all of your assets across the board, what kind of messaging tone, settings for your sort of capitalization requirements, and how you do that within your brand, and then any additional notes you would have on your brand. And so anytime you are having a batch of videos generated, for example, the motion designer who's working on that is going to have the style guide and your requests side by side. And so they're always going to be following your brand guidelines every single time, and that's saved for an ongoing basis. And as you continue to use Primer on Demand, you'll see that it'll become easier and easier in terms of you always being in sync with the team that is actually designing those growth marketing assets. I'm going to jump over here to creative requests. So there are a few ways that you can essentially request a batch of creative. So one would be a blank request, and I'll show you sort of the entire request form here in a second. But another way is actually to use what we call inspiration templates. And so Primer on Demand has a library of different inspiration templates within it. And so you can browse and look for something that fits your brand, or is just sort of a tactic or a strategy that you would like to try for your brand. And so you can actually watch these videos here and then decide, okay, this looks great for our brand. Or you can watch over here again and sort of peruse and just like see what works. And then if you find one that works, you click on use as inspiration. And then within this, you actually have like a really easy way to sort of brainstorm and come up with what would work for your brand. What sort of video ad here would work for you. So it could be maybe you're doing like an upcoming Mother's Day sale. So maybe it's we're going to do 20% off Mother's Day sale here at the start, and then maybe you jump in and there's an aspect of like how it works you can add here and say like how it works, etc. So you can sort of picture how for you could then take this as a jumping off point to generate your own ad ideas that are really going to convert at a high level. I'm going to jump back out of the inspiration templates now and show you a real request. So we're going to go here. HVMN actually is a real Primer on Demand customer. They actually did our very early pilot program with us. And so this is a request where they had been using Primer on Demand for a few months. So you can kind of see how easy it is to get something in here and have a great marketing asset created for you. So this example, it's a New Year, New You theme. Then we have platform. And so here's where you will set the platform that you're going to be using this creative in this case, videos. This is really important because, again, the designer who you will be working with knows growth marketing, knows best practices on all these channels. So when you request a batch of videos and you say it's for Meta or you say it's for TikTok, they'll use those best practices. So you're always getting something back that follows the best practices for direct response on those channels. So we have Meta, TikTok, Snapchat can always go other for YouTube, Google SEM, etc. And then aspect ratio, that one's pretty straightforward. We have a few of the defaults here, but again, you can always select other if you need there. And then number of variations. So again, this whole entire platform is built around growth marketing creative and growth marketing in general, and for you to hit your goals. You should never really be testing just one variation of a concept, because all kinds of things in terms of the visuals or just little things in the start of a video, for example, can totally throw off the performance, either for good or bad. And so within one concept, you're always going to want to try a few different variations. And so that's why here you can get up to 3 variations for videos and up to 5 variations for images. So whenever you have a concept, you're always getting a good batch of stuff to try there. And then description. So what's different about this? What are we testing? What are some of like the goals that you're trying to accomplish with this batch of videos? And then creative media. So it's really easy to add your media. Again, we'll have your sort of your large like master assets folder in the command center. But then here, what are some more particular, I guess, options in terms of visuals that you want to use, or any other type of media you might want to link to here. And so it's really easy to add either like a Google Drive or a Dropbox link, or you can also, alternatively, you can actually upload videos and images directly to the requests and just put them in here if you don't have them hosted somewhere else. And also what's great is, again, because you're working with a team that already knows growth marketing, you don't have to be very, very specific in the exact thing you want to be used in the video ad. You can sort of give a range of options and then allow the video editor, the graphic designer, or the landing page creator sort of like fill in the gaps for you. You can also select from stock. So right now in Primer on Demand, you're already hooked into all of the sort of different free stock photo and video sites. And we are looking to add more of a premium option here in the future as well. So you can always kind of pick from this list and quickly browse it within Primer on Demand. And then next is the video script. And for like a landing page or for, say, like a batch of say, 5 images, it's going to be very similar. Although I guess with images, you can also just sort of give one description and just get 5 sort of visual different versions of it. But here in the video script, we've broken it up into what we call frames or sections. And essentially the reason for that is that in any sort of social growth marketing, what we're finding is that in videos, you want to make sure that you're always cutting every like 2 to 3 seconds. And so you're keeping everyone's attention in doing that by sort of giving a little piece of information and then moving on to the next, and then moving on to the next. Never sort of like staying on one shot or one sort of aspect for too long. And that way you sort of get that kind of jumpiness that you see in a lot of viral videos. And so we have kind of broken it out here to make it a little bit easier and kind of guide you in that process. So as you can see, so here is description. And so here would be what kind of visual should be used in this video ad that you're generating. And so in the description, you can be either as kind of specific as you'd like, or you can be very general. In this case, H3 Med had been using Primer on Demand for so long that essentially they gave very little in the descriptions down here and gave most of their instructions sort of in like the larger description for the video. And then underneath that is the exact text. And so here would be the text for the video that they added. You can also attach specific files or add a link, again, to like a Google Drive or a Dropbox. And so again, you can kind of be as specific or as general as you'd like here. Then again, so in the description here, they're just making a note that they want a checkbox next to each of these items. And then going through, so you can really see like how kind of simple this is for you to generate professional, well-made video ads, image ads, and landing pages for your growth marketing that are following all the best practices. I mean, in this case, this was a real video request, and there's very little described within the description. And so then it was all kind of left to the motion editor to kind of make those calls and come up with something great. And then under inspiration, so here you can add links to, say, like an Instagram post or any sort of different competitor, whatever it is. Many growth marketers have sort of a list of inspiration and save different sort of things that they've seen. And if you have any of those, this is actually a great way where you can kind of like add some inspiration that you recently saw and then get something that fits your brand, but also kind of goes after that strategy and is a similar kind of idea. And so that way you're able to test a lot of these different things that you're saving and being inspired by kind of while you're doing your marketing research. And so that's great here. And then if you were to use one of the inspiration templates that I showed earlier, that would automatically be linked here. And so that would already be included as inspiration to be able to help kind of like guide you into generating something that kind of fits that inspiration that you were going for. And then any additional notes can go right here. So let's say we're good with this request, hit submit. And I'm going to close out and go back to the queue. So what would happen after you submit is your new sort of batch of video request would go into the bottom of the queue. But then you always have the option to say, you know what, actually, I need this earlier. I'm going to move it to the top. And I want it to be the very next thing that gets made. And so you always own your own sort of queue or roadmap of marketing creative here. And you can always move it around however you see fit. All right, so then let's say you've requested your videos and you have now had them delivered to you by the Primer team. So within the platform, you can then go review the videos here. So again, everything in terms of requests, notifications around like something's being worked on, something's been delivered to you, all within the platform, and then also reviews are also within the platform. So I'm going to jump into, actually, let's go with this Hatch Sleep. So there's another actual Primer on-demand customer who, again, was with us during like our pilot program. And so this is an actual request that they made. And so you can see a few of the videos here. Or I think even better, they wanted to try a couple different text treatments. And so you can kind of see it's a very similar video throughout, but it has sort of a very different visual kind of feel to it. And so let's say you need a change here. You can actually stop any point specifically in the video and make comments on that actual point in the video and say, oh, I think we need to change this to sleep benefits, for example, and post that. And then that makes it so there's very little chance for miscommunication. So you are likely to get, a great returned video next. And so that cuts down on the number of revisions required whenever you're giving feedback or asking for changes on videos that you've kind of generated through Primer on Demand. And then going back, let's say actually, let me show you a landing page really quickly too. So let's go to this landing page. Let's go to this landing page over here. Cool. And as you can see, I've already marked this one up quite a bit, but you can actually see the entire landing page within here. Again, you can comment on very specific parts within the page, so that makes it very clear where the change needs to happen. And then there's also the mobile version over here. So all of these landing pages are mobile first. So that means they're actually going to be designed in mobile, and then they get made into a desktop version. And what that does is it ensures that the entire page is designed with mobile in mind, because something like 90% of your direct response marketing traffic is going to be on mobile. And so it's very crucial that mobile is the optimal channel for that. So you're actually going to see all of these are always designed first in mobile, and then are given a awesome looking desktop version as well. And you're never seeing that sort of problem where the desktop size gets scrunched into an awkward mobile. Instead, it's mobile first, and so you're going to have great results there. All right, then jumping back. So let's say, all right, this looks great. I'm going to approve as is. Cool. Then as soon as you approve, it'll go over into your completed tab over here. And this is your history of all of your growth marketing creative. And so this is great. This is a great way to be able to always go to one place, find your growth marketing creative, see the date where it was approved within here. And you can always kind of like go back and see, what kind of historical assets you have within here. So I'm going to go to the HVMN New Year, New You video. So this is, again, a real video that was made through Primer on Demand. And so, again, you can see that the copy from the request was used here, and the rest was really the gaps were just filled in. And so the HVMN team did not actually give very much visual direction, but they still ended up with this great looking meta ad. So this is great. So it's an actual video created through Primer on Demand. Then jumping back, so that's it. So that's an overview of Primer on Demand. So hope to hear back from you soon. Excited to chat more and hopefully get your Primer project set up soon. All right, take care.